Mr. Jegede is a respectable member of his community, but what most people don't know is that back at home, Mr. Jegede and his wife, Mrs. Jegede, and they fight Lord of the Rings every now and again for her. Last Friday, Mr. Jegede returned home from work, completely tired and exhausted. All he wanted was a warm meal, mixed with some peace and quiet, to enable him rest after a long day's work. As he entered the house, he met face to face with his darling wife, Mrs. Jegede, who was already in a rage and ready to continue the quarrel from where they stopped in the morning. So Mrs. Jegede began to call Mr. Jegede all sorts of names. You are a useless man, you are a stupid man, you are a lazy man, and a whole lot more too numerous to mention. Mr. Jegede, as a law-abiding citizen, managed to keep his cool. He opted to go back outside, drive away to the nearby bar, make it take one bottle to at least step down. But Mrs. Jegede did not allow him. He grabbed him by the tie and said, "You are going nowhere." Mr. Jegede began to beg, "Madam, let me go out." But Mrs. Jegede no gree. In that frustration, Mr. Jegede finally lost his cool. He hit his wife a few blows. Like John Cena, he jack her for up. Boom for ground. Within 2 seconds, everything be like movie. Mrs. Jegede was there, lying lifeless on the floor. Few minutes later, the police arrived on the scene, and now Mr. Jegede has been arrested and is facing a charge of manslaughter. Yesterday they were in court, and I heard Mr. Jegede tell the court, "My lord, I know I killed her, but it was because she provoked me. Please, my lord, I am not a killer. I am not guilty. Don't convict me for murder." It is true that the court cannot convict Mr. Jegede for murder, but guys, Mr. Jegede is definitely going in for manslaughter, and that defense of provocation might not save him. Here are a few things to understand about the legal implication of manslaughter resulting from provocation within the context of the Nigerian legal system. What is provocation? Provocation is typically defined as a wrongful act or insult. It is of such a nature to be sufficient to deprive an ordinary person of self-control. This wrongful act or insult must have been the immediate cause of the defendant's actions. Is provocation a defense to murder? Under the Nigerian law, when an individual is charged for murder and he can establish that he was provoked into committing the act, such an individual might have a defense. The legal implication here is that the charge may be reduced from murder to manslaughter. To successfully use provocation as a defense for murder, the defendant must prove that he was actually provoked and that his action in response was due to the provocation. The provocation must be significant enough to cause a reasonable person to lose all amounts of self-control. If the defense of provocation is successful, an accused or defendant may be convicted of manslaughter in place of murder. Manslaughter typically carries a less severe penalty than murder. The sentence for manslaughter can vary depending on the circumstance of the case, the jurisdiction, as well as the judge's discretion. In Nigeria, manslaughter convictions will typically include imprisonment for a term and in more severe cases, life imprisonment. You see why I always advise against falling for provocation? Because provocation will land you for murder case. Please, I beg you, when in a tight corner and you find yourself being badly provoked, my brother, my sister, find an escape route. Get out of that space and immediately call your lawyer. Because if you are not careful, provocation can land you in a homicide case.